This is Real People, Real Stories. The purpose of these interviews is to uplift, motivate, and encourage. And remember, these are real people with real stories. It's not your story or mine, it's their stories and their testimonies. God first and overcome by testimony.
Check. I get wins, no days off. I don't stop, no days off. It's God life.
Managers were pedophiles. And so they're taking the kids around and getting them by all sorts of sickos. And Michael was trying to protect them, give them a safe place to stay to where these people couldn't get at them. Because they would drug them in the middle of the night and haul them off. The next thing they'd wake up in somebody's bed already, been raped. This is at least what I'd been told.
Now your experience real fast. I know we got about 2 minutes. We're definitely gonna pick up on this. I know the people are communicating, keep sharing the buttons. I think I got about 500 people on the app. God bless. But just how was your experience? Yes, it's a blessing. How was your experience at the Neverland? Just what you saw, like I know you said with the animals, but how did you see? Yes.
It was just a beautiful place. It was, several acres. I don't know, maybe 50 acres or something like that. And, had merry-go-rounds and bumper cars and a movie theater and, I don't know, like 20 different circus rides that you might see at any carnival. But it was just, millions of dollars had been spent to build this place. And it wasn't for Michael. Michael usually stayed with his folks back in Encino. It was a place for these kids, and you'd see busloads of these kids coming in wheelchairs and whatever else. And it was one of the few times they were allowed to, get on any ride, and people were there to help them get on and get off. And so it was dedicated to children. So to me, it was like, how can people possibly blame this man who didn't have a childhood? And that was Michael's big beef about his dad is he was pushed into this business as a young child, not understanding what it even was other than sing, and do what daddy says, or dad will, get mad at you. And and his other brothers and sisters, they all know what took place behind the scenes. And Joe offered up his kids just like the rest of these families. And, I don't know, I wasn't there, so I'm not sure, but I've heard rumors that all of the Jackson kids were at one time or another subjected to pedophiles. That was part of the price to pay for getting in the Hollywood Club. And, all I know is that Michael was aware of what this town really was. I was still clueless. Just Live Nation laughing like they did. I was like, how can they turn something like this into a ha-ha joke? These people are sick.
Hey, Bill, before this is the last question I asked for tonight, because we got to wrap up here. LR 98.8, Real People, Real Stories. But let me ask this question. Who turned the narrative around about Neverland? Was it that reporter, or how did it get turned around as to being what it was?
This guy, Tony or Tommy Bashir, was the tool that was used by ABC, which is Disney. And most of us know what Disney is now. But it was, from what Michael had told me, it was a combination of Paul McCartney, who wanted Apple Records back. Michael bought Apple Records in a silent auction, and Paul didn't offer as much money as Michael did, so Michael won the rights to buy and own Apple Records, and his family has owned it up until recently. I think it was just recently sold by the children for some unknown amount. But what was it also? And Michael was basically a maverick. He broke his contract with Sony Records. He found a law firm up in Santa Barbara that was basically known as a bank killer. And they went in there and canceled Michael's contract, so he didn't have to do any more recordings for Sony. And Michael was able to get all of his rights back to his music from Sony, sued them, as far as I know. That pissed off the president of Sony Records to no end, because right after that, Prince did the same, Madonna did the same, and Courtney Love, who cares, did the same. and several other artists fell in suit when they realized, oh, this is how we get out of this mess. Because like Prince, he had to change his name to a symbol because they owned his name. And it was, you know, some mafioso tactics that have been used on artists to own and control everything, you know, and the artists were just being put on, you know, whatever you call it when you're a kid, you know, a stipend, you know, send you a check every month and shut up or you won't get that. And when you don't own the record label and you don't own the distribution to your own music, you are left in a precarious position, especially if you then said, you know, I'm suing you and I'm taking everything. That made Michael a target by these two gentlemen, and they decided that Michael was going to get the treatment. So if Michael was protecting kids from pedophiles, he was going to be accused of being a pedophile. It's kind of like what we're seeing with our election now. The left accused the right of everything that they do. It's the way the devil works. He accuses you of what he's done. Anyways, that's just my thoughts on that.
We spoke on that, and we'll conclude right there. I know next time coming up, we'll tell the people about how they offered even you to manage Michael Jackson, to even do management. We'll speak on that next, and then furthermore about just
I've been offered 3 times to you know, have the kingdom put at my feet, you know, contracts with the studios and all the rest of that. Any actor I want. That was one delivered by my fiance, who I ended with that day. But the Jackson family wanted me to manage Michael at that time, and I guess we'll leave the rest of that story till next time. But
that's right. No, Bill has got so much, man. I could talk to this man. We speak on the phone for hours. You look at the call log, so it's nothing normal. Y'all are just kind of getting like a fly on the wall of this, brother. So, you know, we'll be back. Real people, real stories. This was the premiere. I couldn't have been blessed to do it with another individual other than Mr. Bill out there in California. They're a little bit earlier than our time. It's a little bit later out here, 7 o'clock, 8 p.m. East Coast time. But yeah, so we'll get back to it next week. Real people, real stories, episode 2. And we'll have Bill back coming in a couple of weeks, November the 8th.
God bless you all.
Festival.
Everyone.
And I before we get out of here, Bill, definitely just give a word to the people or something you want them to know in conclusion.
Well, if I had anything to say to the people, it would be to put your entire trust in God's hands and ask God to protect you. Ask God to make your home a sanctuary where you are safe, and it'll be so.
God bless you for tapping in with this great interview. It's all done through Yahweh, God first, and all the connections he's allowed me to get. You got feedback? You got topics that you want me to ask the person? You got any questions? Anything that we didn't answer in full? Hit me up. Just send an email to 8amexposure@gmail.com. It's going to be listed right here on the screen. So hit me up. Let your voice be heard in this new year, 2025. Real people, real stories. Talk to me.
This for all them half devil, half God, crystal using fake, teaching fake, preaching only for YouTube and for them little views. Half Christian industry abusing. What does it profit a man to gain the world if it's solely lose it, man? Stop wearing dresses. Stop wearing dresses. If you dudes born me and tell me why you wearing dresses, homie. Stop wearing dresses. Just stop wearing.